Alright, so just got home a few minutes ago. Got done installing The Division, which I'm super happy to crack into because I'm a huge, huge Tom Clancy game fan. I've got Zeke on there to hopefully help me through it a little bit because he's been playing it a little bit more today while I was at work. So, and my dad picked it up, so I'm probably gonna play with Zeke and my dad for a little bit for about an hour, and then I will give you my impressions of the game after the fact, and probably showcase some of the best moments in my playthrough of it whenever I get started here. So, let's go check out The Division. Alright, so after you get done with your character creation, at that point, it's time to kind of dive into the division. And true to most games, it will walk you through kind of a tutorial area, where it shows you basic things like how to take cover, how to move from cover to cover, basic shooting, and eventually how to navigate the map and get to your first objective. The first thing you can't help but notice about The Division is that it is absolutely a gorgeous game. Naturally, it's going to look a lot better on PC than it will on consoles, but nonetheless, the environments are just hauntingly beautiful for a post-apocalyptic New York. After you enter your first safe house, the first thing that you do is you meet Fei Lao, who explains a little bit more of the story, and you start to get to grips with some of your first missions, things like gathering food supplies, rescuing hostages, and things like that, to kind of ease you into how the game is played and its various mechanics.
I'm Agent Fei Lao, Division. Activated the same time as you, part of the second wave of us going in. I don't know what happened to the first wave, but unfortunately, there's still lots left for us to do.
One of the things that I loved right off the bat with The Division is that it was super easy to just kind of pop open my map and see where my friends were in relation to myself. Now, because they were on different servers, it doesn't mean I could just kind of run around and go find Zeke and say, hey, let's group up. But it is easy to kind of figure out where they are in relation to you on their own servers, invite them to a group, and get them to help you. In a lot of games like this, it's not always possible for you to just immediately group up with your friends and start taking on missions together, but The Division makes it really easy. Even in the early levels where you're just fighting lowly level 1s, there's no problem getting into a group of friends and taking on the streets of Manhattan. Speaking of grouping up with friends, after Zeke and I got into a group together, one of the shortcomings we did notice about The Division is that its character creation options are fairly limited. So much so that Zeke and I actually picked the exact same character face, same haircut, and same tattoo completely by accident. Shortly after Zeke and I met up, we went ahead and joined my dad in The Division because he picked it up as well. And then off we went, trying out some of the side missions and progressing the story just a little bit in The Division to try to get a feel for what it was like. One of the comparisons that immediately jumped out at me is it really plays a lot like maybe Rainbow Six or even Gears of War. It's heavily geared towards pop and stop mechanics. If you can't get behind cover, you're gonna have a bad time. The gunplay isn't the most inspired I've ever seen, but the guns do sound and feel really, really good. It's not going to have the kind of fantastical variety you see in a game like, say, Destiny, but there are 129 different guns at launch, and every one that I had the pleasure of using seemed to offer the correct amount of punch for what it was. Some of the controls are a little strange, but they're not completely unmanageable. For instance, normally whenever you want to throw a grenade in a game, you would just use one of the bumper buttons or triggers, aim your trajectory, and release. In The Division, you have to tap left on the D-pad first to select that you're going to throw a grenade, hold right trigger to aim it, and then release. It's not mapped to its own button. Another weird thing is you use A to slam against cover, which is fine, but then it often prompts you to use B to jump over that cover. I don't know why they couldn't have just used A for this and why B needed to be its separate button for going up and down, but it's one of those things you just get used to over the course of play. All in all, my time spent playing through some of those early missions was a lot of fun, and one of the things that I noticed is that city is deceptively big for what it is. You might look at the map and think that it needs to be much bigger, or notice that it's much smaller than other open world type games, but it's also incredibly densely packed. You can always go underground to subways, for example, and the game has a lot of verticality that has you going up and down the sides of buildings, looking for stairs, and there are a lot of doors that you can actually go into to actually explore the innards of buildings. Most of the missions that we played were pleasingly challenging. They weren't so difficult that they felt impossible, but not so easy that it was a cakewalk either. That being said, mistakes were made.
Oh yeah, it does hurt me! Oh god! Help! Help! Just like Destiny. Help! Help me! I'm dying! Get back, real world. Oh no!
So I just got done playing The Division for probably about an hour or so. Got to get, kind of shown the ropes a little bit. Some 3 opening side missions. And then did the skirmish, which was kind of like, I guess it's kind of similar to like a raid, maybe, in World of Warcraft. No, maybe not a raid, like an instance, maybe, like a dungeon. Maybe like a raid in Destiny. But, so I played it for a little bit, and now Jason's testing it out, because I want to get Jason's thoughts on the game as well.
It takes some time to get the mechanics down, to understand kind of how to play the game, or what the kind of the best strategies are. Especially when I'm used to running an open rain of fire on people. A little more strategery. But I think it'd be fun to play with a big group of people. Like, switching between controls are a little bit different, but you have 3 kind of different primary weapon slots, which is very similar, I'm guessing, Rust. A lot of games though. I'm not really sure how to like build the skills yet, but I'm sure that'll come with after more than an hour of play. I think the graphic interface is nice. There's a lot of different graphical treatments. Some of it's like heads-up display kind of type stuff, but really not. It's what you'd see on a heads-up display, but not necessarily used as a heads-up display. It's just you as the character. There's a lot to building your character, and I'm curious to see how you build your base. So I'll give it at least a couple more tries and see if it hooks me.